think we're good to go. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm kind of excited about this video because we got shiny parts. So these, if you have followed me on Instagram, you'll already know what these are. If you're not following me on Instagram, there's a link down below to those. But these are stainless steel headers. They are not for a Crown Victoria. They're actually for a, what was it, like 99 to 04 Mustang. And the reason I bought these is, well, not because they're not going to fit, because they aren't going to fit. I bought these because they were $125. These are stainless long tube headers, big old thick flanges, and they were $125 off Amazon. There's gonna be a link to those down below if you want to check them out. I think they're regularly like $130, but they were running like a 5% discount on them, so I got them for, you know, around 125 bucks. They seem pretty nice. They got O2 bungs in it. They got the EGR bung. You know, there's some cost savings because it looks like they're MIG welded over TIG welding, but I mean, they seem nice for what they are. So I figure 125 bucks versus probably $800 for stainless works or Cook's headers for a Crown Vic. I figure with the cost savings, you know, I'll mess with making them fit. So that's what we're gonna tackle today. So with that being said, I get the fun task of trying to get rusted Ford modular motor manifolds off. And I know I'm gonna break bolts off. Part of the reason I know this is because there's already one broke off before I've even started. So it's gonna be great. Quick progress update. All 4 bolts are out on the passenger side, but I got a bit of a problem. That's not right. Okay. Oh man. Passenger side, which was going to be the easier side. It was supposed to be the easier side. It's not easy. I'll show you under here what I'm looking at. Obviously, manifold's off. I had to pull the AC compressor loose, you know, because of some wonderful engineering. And I almost got every single bolt out without breaking it on the side, except for one. I'm so frustrated. It was my dumb fault. I wasn't even paying attention. I had the ratchet going the wrong way. So over tightened it and snapped off this one right here. So dumb. Anyways, so yeah, let me pull these gaskets off of here, and I'm gonna see if I can't finagle this header up in here and see what we're looking at. Oh man, what a fight. It's several hours later. But it's in. All right, so as you can see, this passenger side is in with the starter out of the way. I still do have one broken off stud. I was able to get the other two that were still in out. If this one was the full length, it would have caused me issues. Obviously, I'm still gonna get it out, but so it's in kind of bolted in place. It's still a little loose. It does need to actually kind of rock like this, but we're hitting the trans lines, which is, you know, those will be easy enough to kind of move. They're gonna need some sort of a heat wrap or something on them. They don't fit bad. As far as up top, they clear everything, you know, with enough clearance that I'm comfortable with it. The only issue that I see, and this is probably going to be an issue even if you bought these for a Mustang, pull back here, and this is the one thing that I heard from other people, is this flange in relation to the trans pan. So if I push this to where it kind of needs to be, it's very close to the trans fan, which makes no sense to me. They should have, I mean, if they would have just canted this out a couple of degrees, it would have been perfect. I'll probably end up just kind of pie cutting along the collector here and just ever so slightly rocking this out. I am slightly concerned. Let's see once I get all the bolts in it. They don't hang down low by any means, but my truck, as you can see, the oil pan has already hit the ground, and this exhaust, which this exhaust is a bit low, it has hit the ground. So it's up above this one, it appears, and so it might be okay. I mean, if it does hit the ground, it's probably going to be only at, you know, when it's laid out. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. So not much modification is going to be needed on this side. All right, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on here with this light, but can't see it's clear and everything. It looks like it's close to this air conditioning stuff right now, but that's because that compressor's still loose and the compressor's actually pulled back this way. So that's all going to move that way. May need to do some heat shrinker on this, or not heat shrink, gee whiz, some sort of a heat blanket or something around it. Maybe something on this fuel line here. It's, you know, it's an inch and a half away, but I just don't want any you know, vapor locking issues or anything of that sort. So, but yeah, I'm pleased so far. So, as it sits right now, Mustang headers will fit on the passenger side of a Crown Vic. All right, guys, a little progress update. It's the next day, obviously, because it's light out. There's passenger side header still on, but I got the driver's side off. I got the remaining 2 bolts out of the bottom. I didn't break either of them, but I do still have to, I haven't even tried this to fit this header yet. But I've got, well, I'm gonna have to pull out this stud. I have a broken stud here that was broken before I did anything. And is there a broken stud there? There might be a broken stud there too. Oh yeah, that's gonna stink. It's broke off, and it's broke off below the surface. So that one's gonna be fun. So I got, both back ones are broke off, and I've got one front one broke off right here, and then I got a stud to pull out here. So 2 studs to pull out, and then 3 broken studs on this side. And I still got 1 broken stud on the passenger side yet. But let me see if I can just try and slide this up in here. Although, you know what? I can see right now that I think the dipstick's gonna be in the way. All right, let me look at this header. All right, guys, so I went ahead and tried to fit this, this other header. And as I suspected, it doesn't fit. And I'll point out kind of the issues that I found. But first, I did get my ratchet replaced. I went to Lowe's and exchanged it, so that was pretty painless. Thank you, Liz. All right, let me show you the issues with this header. All right, so like I thought, the dipstick is in the way. I unbolted it here and tried to pull it out of the block, and it is stuck. All right, so to not have to deal with a broken dipstick tube, I'm gonna cut the flange, because if that thing breaks off in the block, that's not gonna be fun. So to remedy the issue, the dipstick passes right between these two pipes. So I'm gonna cut this flange out right here. That should solve that issue. And then the other problem I'm having is I can't even get the header in all the way, because this first primary tube is hitting the frame. So what I'm actually trying to do, my long-term plan is to take some pipe out of right here, move this over, bringing the whole tube over. But I think for now, I'm just gonna cut the pipe out and see if I can fit it. Because I always know I can fit it back in there. Well, at least I hope I can fit it back in there afterwards. So yeah, I need to get that flange cut, get the first primary tube cut, and see where we're sitting. I believe this tube may hit, but we'll see here in a minute. And just like that, tube is cut and flange is cut. I'll clean it up once everything's all said and done, but I do have a little bit of work ahead of me yet. So, all right, let's see if this thing fits. All right, as you can see, I have this header in. Let me see if I can get you to where you can see a little better. So you can see this tube down here. It is still interfering with the frame a little bit. Oh, come on, zip tie, get out of the way. I have clearance that primary tube a little bit. It needs clearance a little more. It's barely touching the frame. I have a couple bolts in. Obviously this front primary tube is still not on. I have some clearance issues on the motor mount, which is kind of strange. It's touching the motor mount, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Haven't tried to put the steering shaft in, but I'm gonna try and put this other tube in and see how it fits. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's focusing now. Put this other tube in and see what I got to do in order to get that primary tube in. So let's do that. Alrighty, so I spent some time, well, a little bit of time, and I realized, if I can get this fish down in here, that, oh, come on. Oh, now it's gonna be a pain. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. Okay, that's out of the way. Steering shaft was in the way. All right. So if I put, if it'll focus all the way down there. See the pipe moving down there because it's not focusing? So if I line that up down there, and I bring this front pipe and line it up, so it's pretty well lined up. Okay, Baba. All right. So if this is lined up here, that's almost lined up there. It clears everything. So I don't think I necessarily needed to cut it out because it was interfering with, it was hitting the frame when I was trying to install it, but I think that's because you have to basically jack the motor up to get this header in. So I think the header will go in one piece. The bigger problem that I'm running into now, and it's not even so much this tube, is, so I've got the steering shaft in for the Vic, and they're, oh come on, they're not even close to lining up into the right spots, and I'm hitting this tube right here. And these Crown Vics have these really funky shafts that are all sorts of curvy, and they don't have a standard universal down there. It's that abomination. So I'm gonna have to figure out something with the steering shaft. That's gonna be the bigger issue. All right, so my plan now is I'm going to get this tack back in place so I can get a better idea on the steering shaft down there. And then I need to clearance this just a little bit more. And then go from there. Yeah, because, you know, figuring out the steering shaft. But to do that, I don't have a TIG welder, which means doing stainless is going to be kind of difficult. But I'm going to try something that I've never done and didn't even know existed. What is this? I found this is gasless flux cored stainless steel. So I'm going to give that a shot in the old Lincoln and see how that does. Well, first things first, I got a sticker. Let's see. Yep, right there works. All right, hop to it. All right, so that actually wasn't all that terrible. Got the header out. Just, I'll tell you what, guys, if you're doing this, unbolting the engine, at least on one side, and loosening the other, and jacking it up is a world of difference. I got this tube tacked back in place. You see, I'm gonna have a little bit of a gap to fill because, like I said, I cheated it over, you know, just a little bit in to give myself some more clearance on that side. A little bit of a bigger gap to fill here. I can do that though and still make it look decent. I do need to clearance this just a touch more. The tube really isn't crushed all that much. And if you've seen any of the Engine Master challenge or Engine Master videos, or Engine Master? Where's Engine Master? I forget. One of the channels, they did a test on standing tubes and it really didn't do all that much at mild levels. So I'm gonna get this welded up. And I need to clean this up to fit around the dipstick tube and then figure out the steering shaft. Alright guys, so first impressions on that stainless flux core MIG wire. All in all, not too bad. Once I started getting the heat and wire speed settings figured out. Let me turn you around here. By all means, they're not pretty. You can see I had a lot of spatter. Starting out, I had the heat too high and the wire speed too low. It's considerably different than what I was running the other, like, mild steel flux core at. Yeah, considerably different. So there's a few spots that, like, it's laying out smooth and penetrating well. So I think with a little bit more adjustments and whatnot, it'll you know, it'll do pretty good. I mean, it's not going to be nothing like a TIG welder, but yeah, I was just starting to get it dialed in a little more right at the end, getting a little less spatter, and getting them laying a little flatter. So, all right, moving on. All right, guys, so actually we have jumped ahead several weeks. I haven't really had a chance to work on a truck. Had a lot of stuff going on with the house and the baby coming on the way, so haven't really had a chance to work on the truck like I really wanted to. So jumping back on it. Last time you saw, or just previous, you know, a few seconds ago, you saw that I got that header welded up. So that header is now installed, and I'm going to show you what else I was able to accomplish. Okay, so that header is reinstalled, and as you can see, there's actually a steering shaft in it now too. I was running into issues with the stock steering shaft. Anybody that's working on a Crown Vic knows they're garbage anyways. So I modified the stock steering shaft to utilize two normal style universals. So the universal that is down here is actually the universal that was up here. The reason I did that is because it uses the same, like, triangle style shaft that the stock shaft is. So, and that's what the rack is. So I utilized that one down there, and then I had a piece of D shaft from another steering column. That's what's in the middle, because you do need that little bit of like a slip joint to be able to install it, and if in case of an accident it collapses. And then this is another universal that I had, again, from the previous addition or, you know, build of the truck. So that is now made, which gives me a little more clearance because the shaft is straight instead of it kind of having an angle like the Crown Vic shaft normally has, and it just rotates funny and it's ridiculous. So that's in there. This tube is the major problem with using these Mustang headers on a Crown Vic. This one's not too bad, just from cutting it out and moving it a little bit. It's good, clearances on everything. The second primary tube is horrible. Hits the frame and it also hits the steering shaft. I clearanced this tube for the shaft right here. A little farther down, it's clearance there. Yes, there's some restriction, but it's nowhere near what the stock manifold is. So, you know, if I really wanted to and I had the time, I would have to re-engineer this tube completely, and if I had the material. I don't have any more of this size stainless pipe, so, and I'm trying to do this for cheap. You'd have to re-engineer this tube completely. Well, actually both of these tubes, this tube and this tube. You would need to move this, get this tube to go farther that way to give you clearance to tightly tuck this tube that way on the inside of the steering shaft. There's just really not enough room to go between the steering shaft and the frame. So that being said, if you wanted to use these headers, if you bought another like stainless J-bend as well when you bought them, because those are pretty cheap, you could modify this header to work. So maybe in the future I'll do that with another set of headers, but for now I just need to get these things going. I want to drive the truck. I'm tired of it. It's been all summer sitting, and I have a show I want to get to beginning of October. So I also got the passenger side header pulled back off, and I got the one broken stud that was on this side. I got that pulled out. So I need to modify this header. I got some lines drawn on there because this collector actually points towards the transmission, as you saw earlier. So I'm gonna pie cut it and bend the collector out away from the transmission. So now I'm going to pull this header off, and I've got, I think, 4 or 5 broken studs on this side that I need to get out in order to get this header back installed. So once those are out, this header can go back on. I don't need to modify it any further. The other header can go back on, starter can go back in, AC compressor can go back on, serpentine belt can go back on, and then we can fire it up. So by the end of this video, this thing's gonna run. Open headers. Let me get this thing done. All right, let's try this top one. Come on, work with me. No way. No way. That was like effortless. I barely even pushed on the ratchet and it started moving. Okay. I'll take it. Maybe the other one will be just as easy. So this one, the stud ended here. I built all this up and then welded the nut on. So you can see how far below the surface that was. Would have worked. All right. Goodness. Try the other one. I think that one's actually a different size. Will I get as lucky, or is this one gonna fight me? You have got to be kidding me. Like, okay, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining one bit. Oh, another. As you can see, I was way off center. Didn't even get a good weld on it, but they apparently weren't very tight, so happy with it. All right, what's next? I also forgot I need to weld on the V-bands. I'm not using these ball collectors. I bought V-bands, so weld those on there. And at some point, not right now. Well, maybe right now. I need to cut these off, but that's just gonna be for looks. So get these welded on as well. Alrighty, as you can see, both headers are installed. Didn't realize it until after I got it put on that the driver's side header collector kind of points a little funny. Is what it is. I'll fix it with the pipe, but I kind of wish it pointed a little straighter. So, alright, I gotta tighten them down and then throw the starter back on, AC compressor back on. I need to figure out the shift linkage. That might be a little bit of a tricky thing without melting the cable. Oh, and then I got transmission lines. Getting close. All right, guys, so the starter is back in the truck. The, what else? Oh, the AC compressor, serpentine belt's back on. I got the air box with the mass airflow back on. Headers are on and tight. This thing is ready to fire, so let's go ahead and do. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that right now because, as you can tell, it's dark outside. It's about 10 o'clock right now. Not gonna fire up the truck at 10 o'clock. Open headers. As much as I want to, I want to hear it. I'm gonna have to wait till the morning. Well, I'm gonna have to wait till the afternoon when I get off work. But for you guys, that'll be just a second. What's up, guys? It's the next day. Just got home from work. Gonna try and fire this thing up. Probably not gonna be quiet. Actually, no, it's not gonna be quiet. It's gonna be loud. Open headers. I don't know how well it's gonna run. There's no oxygen sensors hooked up. But I'm not gonna let it run very long anyways, so, because I got some stuff that's still kind of close to the headers. Need to get some heat up on it, but let's fire this thing up. Hook the battery up. And I think we're good to go. Move some of this stuff so it doesn't fall off. Say it runs. Well, guys, this video is probably long enough as it is. I'm gonna wrap it there. That header install took way longer than I wanted to, but hey, they're on. So next step is gonna be running that 2.5 inch stainless exhaust that I bought. So stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop those down below, and I always look at them and read them. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you would like and share the videos. Trying to get the channel to grow. Really like to hit 2,000 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's quite possible, but hey, anything's possible. So we're at almost 1,600, I think, right now. So guys, I appreciate it as always. Stay tuned for next time.